we're back to discuss Glass, and all the spoilers are coming now. So first of all, we are also going to spoil things from Unbreakable and Split. If you haven't seen those movies, I'm sorry. You missed it.
It's all connected.
But it is all connected. The big twist of everything really was that Split had no outward connection to anything going on in Unbreakable. Until the end of Split, we see Bruce Willis's character from Unbreakable watching the aftermath of what happens to James McAvoy's character on the news. And holy shit, they're in the same universe. And does this mean there's going to be a movie with all of them? Holy shit, there's a movie with all of them. And that's what this is. So I'm going to go really quickly through like the part that I think pretty much everyone agrees is fine, which is like the first 70 or 80% of the movie. Mm-hmm. It's set up really well. I love the whole thing of Sarah Paulson exploring the philosophy and psychology of all of it. The whole, you guys are delusional about being superheroes is interesting. Mm-hmm. The introduction of the light that can disable James McAvoy down to, like, he goes down a stage from whatever he is back down to, he eventually gets down to the 9-year-old.
Can he not just close his eyes?
Well, those lights are pretty powerful. You'd probably still, you'd see those lights through your eyelids for sure. Okay,
fair enough.
Okay, so we're on that subject for a minute. There is a very noticeable scene. If you're someone like me that like looks for this kind of stuff, I can spot a reshoot like a mile away. At some point, when they were making this movie, they realized, wait a second, we set it up that we can disable James McAvoy's character by flashing lights at him. We need to undo that for the next 30 minutes or so. There is a shot where Sarah Paulson's character talks to the young woman from Split, whose name I don't remember.
Casey?
Casey, yes. We see the back of Sarah Paulson's head very close up, and Casey's head very close up. We hear Sarah Paulson's voice, and we see Casey's reaction. I do not think that Sarah Paulson was there that day. I think that was a reshoot when they realized, oh shit, we should just flash him with the lights, and they can turn him off. Mm-hmm. Like, Reddit's going to eat our lunch if we don't put this into there somehow. Mm-hmm. So just magically, the light doesn't work anymore, and she just says that in one throwaway line, and it doesn't work anymore.
Right, it's too bright outside or something.
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So, the thing with the ending, I think there's going to be people that are disappointed that it doesn't have a superhero ending. That is not me. That was the last thing that I wanted. Mm-hmm. I did not want them to go and have a fight at the freaking tower. I did not want some CGI fest nonsense.
It dragged on for a while, too.
I think that the way they ended it was great. I also think that for Shyamalan, he gets to breathe after this movie, mm-hmm. because he didn't leave any of those three main characters alive.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So there's no talk of what the next chapter is. Mm-hmm. He hasn't created a cinematic universe.
The Shyamalan verse is not going to happen.
Right. Thank God.
Yeah. You know what was cool though?
I can't handle another cinematic universe.
Yeah.
I liked at the end there was the three characters that were closely related to each of them though. Mm-hmm. That was nicely done.
Yeah.
I liked that there was three representing them.
For a minute there, I thought it was going to turn out that those
they had powers too. Or
I thought that Bruce Willis's son was going to end up having powers.
Yeah, so and maybe cutting would be a superpower this time around. Because she was cutting herself. I'm sorry. Call back. I was very pleased with the flashback scenes where they did the de-aging through the CG de-aging. It looked really good to me, at least. Mm-hmm. everything was believable. I was wondering like what kind of film they were using, like if he went back to old library stuff and reused any of it, or if it was just all reference and he just reshot stuff or rebuilt stuff.
This was all reshot.
Reshot?
Yeah. And the cinematography in general is just gorgeous. It's really, really well done. They do a lot of really close-up stuff in this, which it's not always effective. And they may have like overdone that a bit. They have a thing where, and also a lot of low shots for some reason.
Yeah.
I always felt like I was staring like at sternum level into people when they were walking around. They always had like a camera that was like here, so like you saw like you're like looking at the character's nose as they walk around. But I mean, the film looked great, and yeah, those de-aging things, a lot of that is makeup, and a lot of that is computers.
Sure.
All that kind of stuff. It's also a lot of lighting. A lot of that stuff was really shot in the dark. The scene where he actually talks to his son in bed, like that's all so dark so that we can't actually see what's going on with Bruce Willis not being that young anymore. But
Well, I mean, he's got a good look for the age here going on, so
Yeah.
it's a progression that I thought worked really well. I found every one of the Mr. Glass explanation scenes actually delightful to watch. Like every time they went back and said, "Oh, here's what actually happened. Here's what he was planning the entire time," it always worked for me every single time. I was like, "Yeah, I believe that worked in the plot. That was well thought out."
I just realized the movie itself is called Glass, and wasn't this his plan? This was his like desire from Unbreakable way
Absolutely.
back then, was to expose
It
it all,
was-
show it all out, and so he finally came full circle.
yeah,
100%
So it makes sense.
motivation.
It's actually called Glass. This
Right,
third one.
right.
I like that.
and Glass is actually, it's Shyamalan too, right? Shyamalan wants to
Yeah.
get all this out there, so
That's actually
Glass
cool.
stands into the movie for Shyamalan. He stands in for the director. He tells the story or creates the story.
I thought for a second I was actually going to tear up when the climactic moment of the movie happens. Like
Which one?
everyone dying.
Oh,
Like I was like, "Oh, that's sad, but I get it."
yeah.
I didn't think the overseer guy, Bruce Willis, was going to go out quite like that. I felt like he was kind of unspent at the time. Like I found that a bit shocking.
That's another pretty common complaint about the movie is just that Bruce Willis was underutilized.
Didn't
in
get a fair
general.
shake, I felt,
And I would be willing to put money on the fact that that was a Bruce Willis decision and not a story decision.
Really.
That he was in it as much as he wanted to be.
Right.
Oh, right. Okay.
I
That makes
really
sense.
like the way they shot him dying, though. Like, I thought that was really...
Like, just...
The cinematography of it was really good.
Right.
Like, just really interesting.
There was like
Yeah.
that one shot that was like the reflection of a reflection of him over the puddle, and she walked up, and there were some really neat shots in it. And like you're talking about like death scenes. James McAvoy's death scene.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Every character, like every layer falling away.
yeah.
That was where I almost screwed up, was with him. Because
Absolutely.
It's like so many emotional deaths happening at once.
That's the whole price of admission thing there.
Yeah.
There was only one shot where, I haven't watched Split since I saw it in the theater again, but there was only one shot where I could tell that his like musculature didn't change when he changed between the Beast and the normal characters. It was just one shot where they showed his back, and like all the veins like disappeared,
Oh,
Right.
Yeah.
but he still had like massive traps.
Sure.
Yeah.
Which they didn't like show off when he was usually like other characters. So he's still like bulky as hell and has like the giant arms. They were just like shooting him a certain way. Like he was always kind of hiding his muscles
Absolutely.
in the other shots.
Assume a different posture because you can see like in even this Patricia, he'd still have kind of large forearms and large hands going on.
The funniest was
entire
when he was pretending to be the nurse and he was wheeling Sam Jackson out, and
Calves.
and like just as the edge of the skirt catches the frame, you're like massive calf muscle.
It's like, oh, he's got really low thighs. Oh wait, those are calves.
It's like, we're going to need you to work out like a madman for 6 months so you can shoot this movie. Yeah, that's... woof, woof. One of the weird parts of the movie was the initial parts where they were showing Bruce Willis Overseer's, like, getting the name Overseer for one thing. That's kind of a cool name, actually. But his...
Mr. Tiptoes.
Mr. Tiptoes. But his interaction with his son, where his son said, Dad, like 15 times to make sure that the audience did not miss that, like, that detail, so they're not asking who is he, like, for the next 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But it seemed an unnatural, hey dads, like every other word.
That is probably, I mean, that sounds like something that a focus group would have said. Like, that's the kind of thing where, like, they would take it to a focus group and, like, they would all raise their hands and say, we didn't realize they were father and son until the end. Because that's how focus groups are.
Yeah.
Damn, that could have been a twist.
Like,
You're not really his son, you're his... No,
because there was somebody in the theater that figured it out before he said dad or anything like that. There was, like, some lady that, like, kind of gasped. Just because she recognized the actor from Unbreakable. But it's been 20 years.
Oh,
So.
Really? I would have guessed that was a recast.
I don't know, but
Oh, anyways.
she figured it out.
Okay.
I didn't. I haven't seen Unbreakable in forever either.
I don't remember if the scene they were showing at the end with the kid, like with Bruce Willis' son as a little kid, was from
When he, like,
Unbreakable,
shushes
or-
him.
Yeah. Yeah, when they were, like, showing his face, and it looked exactly like the actor. So I couldn't tell if that was just, like, you know,
Oh, that was... That, I
computer
thought...
magic, or, like...
I'm pretty sure that was computer magic, yeah.
Was it? Okay.
Because at minimum, they, like, mapped his eyes over to make him have the same eyes, and it wasn't
Yeah,
anything
they, like,
else.
Okay.
It
A
was
lot the same.
very much so.
I haven't seen
That's-
Unbreakable since I
Did
was,
some
like,
mapping.
14, so I don't remember.
Yeah. Yeah, little kids aren't quite that. Like, they don't bear quite the same amount of resemblance to their adult selves like that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, he was just all eyes.
Yeah. That's true. That makes sense.
So, correct me if I'm wrong,
Yeah.
towards the end, there's actually 3 reveals / twists. One
Yes.
is that Glass put his dad on, or they were connected in that they were on the same train from Unbreakable. And then he was like, no, I was going to tell him that later. That was kind of like that would have been a big reveal if they had set that up that way. Then there was the thing that she was working for that secret society, and it wasn't that she didn't believe they had powers, it's that she did. And that
She was the balance keeper.
that way, exactly, that whole thing. And then there was the whole, this was his role master plan all along thing at the very end. So that's a lot of stuff going on at the end.
And a lesser man would have made 3 movies out of that.
Right.
I'm seriously,
Right.
like,
Yes.
this would be a cinematic universe, and it would take 3 movies
Right.
to get through that much plot.
Yeah, that amount of substance.
Yeah.
Part of me was shocked that a twist wasn't that she had superpowers, like she was going to be the one who just flies for
Sarah
no reason.
Paulson.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just
She's like, screw it, I'll use mine then.
The power of wonky eyes.
I was. So one thing that was kind of interesting to me was the father on the train had the dissociative identity disorder pamphlet with them, so the kid's already got these personalities starting up. It's just the beast came to protect him from more damage, I guess.
Yeah, and here's where I'll throw my, like, possible nitpick in there. I don't think they called it DID in 1999.
I don't think so.
No, I don't think
I'm pretty
so.
sure it was still multiple personalities.
Yeah, because I think that's pretty modern that it's called that.
Yeah. So, but, you know,
Yeah.
Shyamalan. it's not science.
Yeah.
It's not or not science. It's not The Happening.
Right.
What? No.
No.
At least the ending wasn't that it was the trees.
Go get some hot dogs.
Well, what if the trees had superpowers?
No one asked someone to get into an oven to clean it. That didn't happen. So, yeah, I mean, all in all, I thought it was all right.
Even Shyamalan's scene of acting was pretty okay this time,
Yeah.
by and large.
Him talking about the murder in his apartment building, I thought for sure that was gonna like come up somewhere in the movie, because it just seemed like a random chunk of a tidbit to drop like that, for it to just be like, nah, it's just his Hitchcock scene where he's, presenting in the movie.
Wasn't it a connection back to Unbreakable? Like his cameo in Unbreakable?
His cameo in Unbreakable. He hung out with a bad crew back then, but he got out of it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it would have been great if he would have had one of the tattoos. And the crew was the bounce keepers. Sorry, now I'm just having fantasy time.
Yes. Don't make a Shyamalan cinematic universe where one doesn't exist. Let's not do that. I don't want a new movie with Mark Wahlberg and has to fight Sarah Paulson in the next one. Like, what? I'm not super at all. All right. Well, that is it. Thanks for watching. If you like the way we do these, please like the video. Like us, subscribe. Check out all the written and video reviews at dalemaxfield.com. Thanks for watching.